Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is DB333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, The New Order, Last Days of Europe as Omsk. Now, in the last video, we began our plan to secure total control of the Black League, and although there was some resistance, note some, we handled it pretty easily, pretty effortlessly, and we took out the anyone really who wanted to try to question our authority. So it's really Yazov and Yazov alone. So we're gonna go ahead and go with a grip of cold iron next to finish up this last focus tree, and I assume we're gonna get another one coming up. So the Rotten League, the bloated officers that lorded over their subordinates like feudal kings, has been excised. The officers are dead, and their cliques scattered to the wind, and the League's territory has been secured. General Yazov will not stand idle even in victory, however, and has declared the Black League to enter a state of preparation for the unification of western Siberia. Kaganovich, the vulture he is, ventures ever closer to our border by the day, and Rokossovsky swoops above him in turn. War comes, and when it does, the League will be ready. So we're preparing to do a bit of a raid. I might as well do this now, why not? A refused tribute, huh? How did that go for you guys, huh? Not well, evidently. Treasure! Beautiful. So we got a lot of political power, which is nice, because we're going to need it coming up, let me tell you. Magadan is doing pretty well. They're still fighting against Cheetah. I think it's equipment. Is it equipment that's doing well? Yeah, the equipment rate is going up pretty well. It's expertise that's kind of dragging along. We might as well do better schools. Teach kids how to aim guns better, so they can shoot Germans. The gunshots had stopped. Silence hung dense and frigid in the air, a thick aether permeated by the fears of thousands. Lonely sentinels walked the streets of Omsk, watched by furtive glances through the blinds of darkened homes. Then it gave way as a whine, a crackle, and a pop echoed across the streets of a Black League's little swath of earthly territory. Comrade soldiers of the Black League. This is Glevkovich Dmitry Timofeyevich Yazov speaking. Some days ago, when our dear comrade, Supreme Commander Karbyshev passed, I was named his designated successor in his last will and testament. Somewhere in a bunker below Omsk, Yazov paused, knowing that he would now have to admit the unthinkable. There had nearly been a coup within the League. Certain opportunistic and treasonous elements of this League's leadership attempted to prevent the execution of our great Marshal's plan. They've been dealt with in accordance with the military justice of our League. I speak to you today to announce a change of course. Under the direct leadership of Glevkovich Karbyshev, our League was a model of efficiency and effectiveness and made tremendous progress in the unification of the Russian nation and its total preparation for the Great Trial. Yet, for the past 5 years, a cancer has begun to grow within our state, rotting away within our very flesh and corrupting the correct guidance of our founder. And today, it has finally been excised. In nature, there is no quarter for the weak, no mercy for those incapable of securing their own existence. The same is true in the affairs of human beings. We cannot, will not, must not let our sentimentality, corruption, and favoritism come before our ultimate priority, ensuring that Russia has a future. We must make the Russian the apex predator of the Eurasian continent. In the coming days, I will speak to you again more and outline the changes that are in store. But for now, this is your commander speaking. Our cause is just. Victory will be ours. Good night. Peregrinus, 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 Expitavi. So we can silence some dissent. A little more political power. I think that's worth it. We'll try that out. A small-term investment for hopefully long-term gain. Let's see. 40 days, 0.75. Okay, now Kemerovo is kind of... They were kind of doing well, and then Novosibirsk just declared war on them, so I don't know about that anymore. I might have to take it back. Well, I didn't have to take it back because I didn't say anything about how well they were doing. Yeah, that's rough, Rurik. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Yeah, that's just rough, dude. God, who was the general we wanted to give? Right, Grigori. My boy Grigori. Then a Field Marshal, Yazov. Offensive doctrine, I think, is obvious. Charismatic is a no-brainer. Winter expert might be good, actually. But I went with organization instead. I don't know why I did that. Adolf Hitler is dead. Ding dong, the wicked bitch. I can't do that. There's only one person who I should say that. And is it possible that the bitch will make an appearance? It is possible. The wicked bitch might make an appearance. We can go ahead and infantry expert, I think, is a no-brainer right there. We could train up another division, German Civil War. Yep. It's thus necessary that the individual should finally come to realize that his own ego is of no importance in comparison with the existence of a nation. So it begins. Can't train up those guys, apparently, but I can train up these guys, apparently. We'll set location in Omsk. And I see Usavolks. Who's winning there? Gumi. And we'll see who ends up winning there ultimately. In here. Curious to see what ends up happening, but... Franco-Burgundian War. Chaos in Ostland. Do I read this one? I'll pause and read so you guys can read it. It's the same... Actually, I'll read it this time. Why not? For a long time, life in a very large portion of Russia had been defined by the German terror bombing campaigns. An entire generation of Russians had grown up in blasted ruins, always watching the skies and ready to run into cover the moment the dark figures of the bombers themselves are spotted. An entire generation of government, whatever the ideology, has struggled with establishing infrastructure or an industrial base of any kind, and what little is built is often promptly destroyed. But not anymore. Millions of Russians have not had to make desperate runs to safety for days. Repairs to civilian and military infrastructure have progressed, and not been destroyed in turn. New constructions still stand. And a realization has dawned. The bombers have stopped. To those with access to information from outside, it is believed that the civil chaos now engulfing the hated Reich and its colonial extensions in the Reich Commissariats had rendered it impossible for aerial efforts to continue. To those without it, it is believed by many to be a gift from God. Even as ordinary Russians celebrate with something approaching delirium, however, many others Speak of dark clouds on the horizon. The many Russian sailors, no longer suffering paralysis at the bombs of the Germans, are now free to look outwards. Only time will tell how they choose to proceed. Clear skies, but dark clouds. Okay, yeah, okay. They moved their capital to Omsk because, Novosibirsk was taken. I'm actually curious to let's see how the Civil War is going. A bit better for the Resistance, actually, if I had to guess. We could scavenge for loot, or prep for raids. We'll just scavenge for loot, I think. Yazov looked out at a little patch of forest near his quarters. How long had it been tormented by the black bombers with Luftwaffe crosses, dealing damage only to the soil? It was nearly stripped bare of branches and leaves, the evergreen trees barely green anymore. But they had endured, and it had now been quiet in the sky for 3 days straight. He felt a lump in his throat. Behind him were the days of Karbyshev, in his guiding hand, the days where he could afford to take orders and be a soldier. Now he would have to lead. The fate of the Russian nation and all on his shoulders. Out of all the officers in the League, Karbyshev had trusted him. Was he really ready? All of Russia was against them. The world would be as well once they saw the strength of the Russian nation united. And the ultimate foe, Germany, would not sit idly by and wait for its destruction. Surely this was hopeless. What he wanted most to do was to crawl back into a bunker and forget he had ever been born. To forget Karbyshev's impossible dream and become just another officer. To run. But that would not do. Russia needed a leader. And though he would be an imperfect instrument, he would act. He would go to the heroes of the first trial, to the proud Russian nation, to Karbyshev's determination for his strength. All the fear of what had to be, and the doubts about what he was, were cast aside by a newfound clarity of purpose. He was Russia's last, best hope for national salvation. He stopped staring at the forest. There was much that needed to be done, much that must be prepared for the coming trial. And he would do it, and by opposing, and them. So, we got clear skies ahead, boys. The clock ticks. The calendar is checked. There is silence. There has been silence. For years, what feels like an uncountable number of days. German bombers flew over the skies, dropping German bombs on our people. After a while, we adjusted our lives, created new routines and regiments. We worked around the bombings, and our lives revolved around the German. Casualties were minimized, and industrial production was maximized. But now there is silence. No familiar distant roar of airplane engines. No familiar rumble of German rolling thunder. There are no more bombers. No more bombs. What happened to a routine that is no longer needed? It's discarded. The end of the bombings brings the beginning of a new phase of our plan. Russia will be ours. Well, there we go. Focus bypassed. Now let's look to the task ahead. With our skies clear, while our skies are clear, our agendas are certainly not. With the end of the bombings came the beginning of our plan to take all of Russia for the Black League. However, while we plan to be the masters of the Russian people soon, intense preparations must be made for even the most rudimentary of conquest. Every possible detail, from even the most basic weather patterns or the behavior of our enemy soldiers, must be taken into account. To conquer all of Russia from the anarchy that has gripped it, it requires precise organization and a strong state, both in the military, from the largest armies down to a single man, as well as the economy, which must be geared entirely towards our wars, first against those who have divided our people, and then against those who sought to destroy us. Our work is cut out for us, but the task ahead is clear. Kemerovo's kind of doing okay, despite how horrible it looks for them right now. It's weird. There's Ostland, that fun little civil war. Well, let's work on a doctrine, actually. Why not? We still probably have time to get working on a bit of an advantage, so let's do it. And then... what? Better infantry weapons, probably, right? Yep. This sounds like a bunch of hippie bullshit. I'm not even gonna justify reading this shit. I don't know what they're talking about. But yeah, the Dominus should stop. You know, Nazis are bad. Let's see. Did they go ahead? Cape Town Massacre. That's... is that ants? Oh god, Maurice is still alive. The poor bastard. Democracy won out. Yep, there's the ants. I was about to say. Next task ahead. Let's go ahead and look. Okay, so we can train up the elite guards now, it looks like, from here. Let's do enhanced training program to start off. There's nothing but shame to be at in weakness. We were weak once, and it cost our people everything. Our army will not be weak, our soldiers not feeble. Our intensive training programs, which are the pride of our armed forces, will be made even more intensive, new initiatives organized, and new plans implemented. We need to find ourselves, now more than ever, the best soldiers to fight and die for our cause. The weak should be, no, need to be, weeded out from our armies and shamed as members of the old Russia, barely fit to operate the industrial machinery that churns out the weapons of war that their more deserving counterparts need in the coming months. Those who survive, however, through sheer willpower, determination, and skill, will find themselves in a place in the best army Russia will ever witness. Well, there we go. Damn, Cheetah's looking thick. Yeah, I'm not sure who I want to... like, what? Okay, I'm trying to think. We won't be attacked from any of these angles. Maybe raided, but not invaded. All we have to worry about is going into Tumen. Hopefully, hopefully, taking them out before Sverdlovsk does. Not too bad. Hopefully, knock on wood, it doesn't, kick my ass. Dovkorik Yazov knows well the dangers of unrestricted, unobserved subordinates. This applies to not only the officers who serve him, but those that serve them, and so on, all the way down to the newest inductee of our army, even lower, to those that do not belong to our armed forces, the ones working in factories and scratching away meager existences in the cities and beyond. The head of a Black League has thus organized the creation of a new internal security directorate, which has colloquially become known as the Black Hand. Integrated with the League and answering directly to Yazov himself, the Black Hand's primary directive is to ensure the security and security and stability of the League, rooting out dissidents and those not fit to serve us. Sounds good to me. The Croatian winter. Beautiful. Arkady stood in the auditorium, not shivering despite the cold. His similarly stalwart cadre brothers stood around him. In total, there were 15 cadres assembled that morning, waiting to be inducted into the ranks of Black League, the finest soldiers in the Black League. The Black Guard, the finest soldiers in the Black League. Arkady and his brothers had endured months of grueling training to reach this point. Not all of them had made it. Some of them had flunked out, while others had broken under the weeks of physical and mental torment they endured. There was no room for weakness in the ranks of the Black Guard, and those who survived the training had no weakness left in them. Arkady considered this fact without pride, for pride had no place in the Guard either. Cadre 183275 called the captain, overseeing the ceremony. Arkady's cadre marched towards the stage. The captain began reading their names off one by one. Each soldier crossed the stage, saluted the captain, and proceeded down the stairs in a newly integrated member of the Black Guard. There was no celebration of the occasion. The Guards could celebrate when they avenged Russia, but until that day, they would be allowed no joy, no sense of accomplishment. Gliskov, Arkady. Arkady took the short walk towards the podium, gave a crisp salute to the captain, and exited off stage. As he walked down the stairs, he felt a spark of pride in his new status. He crushed this last internal rebellion. He was truly a member of the Guard now. After the last graduate had crossed the stage, the captain approached the podium. You are all now members of the Black Guard, the motherland's last best hope for revenge. We will now recite the oath of the All-Russian Black League to end your induction. 300 voices rang out in unison. I believe, before all else, in Russia. 1. Indivisible and invincible. I need another drink. There we are. The Algerian War. Yes, yes. Let's get a F in chat for Algeria's focus tree, which is no longer in this patch. What is up with that guy's teeth? Jesus. There we go. Republic of Ukraine. Okay. We got a free Polska. Let's get an elite force going. The collapse of Russia led living conditions throughout our nation to plummet towards abysmal levels, as our people began slaughtering one another in the name of empty ideologies and greed. While this is indeed a tragedy, one of the highest order, it has had some beneficial side effects, including the ready availability of men who are already predisposed towards fighting and training in the most desperate of extreme circumstances. This, combined with our rigorous training regimens and profound demand for discipline, has resulted in the creation of Black League's elite force, unparalleled by our rivals to the west or east, and for good reason. This elite force must be prepared for the oncoming struggles. Training regiments will be increased, patrols intensified, and raids across our enemy's borders made even deadlier. When the time comes, our soldiers will be ready. Let's go. An ultimatum. Pavlodar, really? Well, time to show them what we're made of, huh? Yeah, that wasn't even hard. Come on. And now we gotta get all these guys back in position for that. Weak crap, come on. Jesus. Man, there we are. Sunday, May 6th. Lev Fedorov, an outspoken critic of the Black League's leadership, fails to return to his barracks after the end of his shift at the factory. His cadre members inquire into his whereabouts. Their overseer informs them that he was reassigned and to not look into the matter further. Tuesday, March 22nd. The Vasilev family refuses to allow League planners to merge their private farm into an agricultural worksite. A week later, having not seen or heard from them, a neighbor visits the farm to investigate. He finds the farm abandoned, but with all the belongings of the Vasilev still present, and a half-eaten meal sitting on the table. The neighbor alerts the authorities of the disappearance, and the farm is soon consolidated. Friday, June 1st. Residents of apartment block 33486 report seeing an unfamiliar man lurking outside the building for several hours. At roughly 1:30 a.m. on June 2nd, Alexander Kozlov falls from the window of his 8-story apartment to his death. Kozlov's neighbors had reported he harbored sympathies for Lazar Kaganovich in the West Siberian People's Republic. Sanitation workers dispose of his body, and the incident is never investigated. Monday, June 11th. Katya Morozova, age 7, is last seen walking home from her youth instruction center. Her father, Artyom, a logistics officer in the Black League, has recently come under suspicion for trafficking black market goods. Several days after her disappearance, he turned himself into the Directorate of Internal Security and confessed to the crime of smuggling. On June 18th, the firing squad executes Artyom for his crimes. The search for Katya is called off on June 21st. The League's grip tightens. Uh-oh. I made a tier list a while back, if you guys haven't seen it, of the Russian unifiers and how good or bad they would be for Russia. And I had Tomsk in Omsk in at F tier, and I had a viewer who, I don't think he was a viewer before, and he found the tier list. He found me through the tier list, and he said, like, I don't know if Omsk is that bad. And I'm starting to think, I'm starting to realize, and I hesitated for a moment, but I'm starting to realize Omsk is truly the best unifier for all of Russia, and I am greatly sorry for doubting any of that. Anyway, let's go ahead and fund Omsk Transmash. Omsk Transmash is one of the many subdivisions of a larger military-industrial complex that calls Omsk home. They had, for some time, been experimenting with modern armor designs, which our high command once scoffed at, snubbing it into obscurity as they refused to fund it or paid any interest. However, armor undoubtedly is incredibly effective on the battlefield as much as the old guard hated to admit it. Omsk Transmash needed to be put at the forefront of our interest, and the armor that it produces needs to be integrated into our army. This will help maximize our efficiency and minimize our casualties when dealing with our opposition in the reunification of Russia, not to mention the fact that it would allow us to achieve battlefield superiority at the early stages of our efforts. There we go, another building slot in military factory, and then some more equipment base, which is very nice actually, and honestly, yeah. Our army professionalism is going up at a very nice rate too, which I'm happy about. Oh, we can get a spy. I don't think natural order really matters. Let's go Sergei Yegorov. We need a tough guy. That's what we need. We can scavenge more loot, which we'll go ahead and do. And then I'm curious about this border war. That might be fun. Let's test for metal. The West Siberian People's Republic, the former master of the region, has seen it fit to, despite all odds, remain a serious geopolitical contender in the region. Lazar Kaganovich's failed state struggled into existence, but this has proven more resilient than the Glavkorek had initially believed it to be. It's time to gauge their strength and test their mettle by crossing their borders and burning towns loyal to human to merit a response from their armed forces. Not only will this give us a good idea of how strong-willed and well-equipped the People's Republic's army is, it will also give our soldiers some more practical experience of warfare outside of hunting down bandits and performing war games with one another. The People's Republic may have struggled into this world, but in the coming months we will make sure that it slips silently out of it. There we go, we'll move back to default map mode. For as long as Alyona could remember, she and everyone she knew had worked in the factories. They assembled guns all day, ate once in the morning and once in the evening, slept in the cramped barracks, and began the cycle again the next day. This was the daily life of a member of Cadre 622970, and aside from the weather, nothing ever changed very much until a few weeks ago. The factory had announced the transfer of several cadres to a new manufactory, including hers. Alyona had clocked out for the last time, marched back into the barracks, packed her meager belongings, and assembled at the gate to await transport. After a long and bumpy ride, the truck stopped before another, newer gate that read Omsk Transmash. Behind it, the rest of her life awaited. First, the new equipment and the instructors expected her to handle baffled her. This place was unlike anything anyone in her cadre had seen. None of them had any idea what a place like this might assemble, until the overseer took them to see the prototype. It was a tank larger than any vehicle Alyona had ever seen, sporting a cannon twice as long as she was tall. The overseer explained the League had selected them to assemble the next generation of Russian armor, and starting tomorrow they would give their stations and taught how to serve their new purpose. The next week had been a flurry of lectures and tutorials and demonstrations. Alyona's assignment was to attach a cannon to the turret. It was backbreaking labor, far harder than her old job had been, but she approached it with enthusiasm. Every day more tanks rolled out of the factory, ready for the battles ahead of them. The words of the overseer's speech stuck with her. The machines she produced would be on the front lines, avenging the motherland and punishing those who had betrayed Russia. Alyona couldn't have been more proud. She thought of them as her children. There you go. A good Russian woman putting herself out there to fight for the League. Let's work on some CAS. I don't think we actually have any, it doesn't look like we have any, airfields. So that kind of complicates the idea of just charging in. Holy shit, Kemerover pulled it out. I'm impressed. I really am. Good job, Kemerovo. I'm really impressed. I actually am. Can I check and see who's doing better? Militarist King. If I had to guess, yeah, Lydia. That's Yuri. So they got the gamer in France, it looks like. Let's get another doctrine going. Next, let's go ahead and do some... Let's infiltrate our enemies. One of the Black League's strengths is the fact that we tout security and secrecy above all else. Many of our neighbors refer to the territory that we control as the Black Hole of Omsk, referencing the city that we call our capital. But we have sympathizers all throughout the region, brave men who are willing to do what's necessary to help the Black League get ahead in our quest for the reunification of Russia. These sympathizers, however, need a little nudging and assistance from our organization. They will get just that. Comrade Yazov has asked that plans are drawn up to send infiltrators, some of the most ideologically committed and experienced members of our organization, into the West Siberian People's Republic to destabilize it and otherwise wreak havoc prior to our invasion. There we go. Yazov struck a match and gently lit the candle by his desk. It was nice to have a dull orange glow just before bed. However, there was too much to read and too much to write for him to sink back into sweeter dreams. There was a typewritten report on his desk from recent fighting on the border with Tiumen. He had personally requested that he be sent major after-action reports from that sector. It was still smudged with grease. After-action report for Byatia sector. Kapitan Alexei Kurchatov. Cadres involved 10-24-21, 10-83-02, 20-59-13, 20-98-13. Patrols of Cadre 10-28-21 encountered enemy positions at 09-30. Position radio owed in to Cadre 10-20, 98-13 and 20-59-13 for mortar bombardment. Additional reinforcements brought up to the firing line. 2 RDs he fired from each light mortar team in sequence. Patrol efficiency and calibration. 20 RDs he fired for effect. Hits on enemy positions. Assault positions at 09:55 with suppressive fire provided by MG teams. Positions cleared. MMG teams moved up to prevent counterattack. Cadre 8-10-83-02 radioed reports of movement on left flank at 10:15. Enemy assault began at 10:15 with movement on each flank and bombardment from enemy mortars. Cadre 10-83-02 attacked on own initiative at 10:25 to break up enemy assault on left flank. Recommended commendation for Cadre 10-83-02. Front and right flank held. Advanced positions maintained for remainder of day. Friendly casualties, 15 dead, 41 wounded. Estimated enemy casualties, 40 dead, 80 wounded. Yazov had been reading reports like this all day. Pitched battles with reasonably determined an enemy. However, they seemed to be no match for the firepower and determination of his soldiers. He allowed himself to be proud. This was progress. They were a real fighting force now, comparable even superior to the best that Siberia could muster. Maybe it was time to rest his tired eyes. He moved his cap and tossed it on the desk. Tomorrow is another day. There would be many more reports to read. He put a small note at the bottom of the page before blowing out the candle. Commend 10-83-02. Yeah, shout out 10-83-02, guys. Let's give him a round of or her a round of applause. Beard gains control of Algeria. Interesting. Dushin will go. Yeah, we'll get back to the right order things. We could raid these guys, but I'm not interested really right now. But we can train, not these guys. We can train one of these guys. Which I am interested in, actually. Maybe only 2. But, you know. We'll get to that slowly but surely. What do these guys need? Anti-tank. Foreman has taken Speer. Construction speed is horrible. Divine Mandate is out and about. Comrades, what I have is a simple proposal. Alexander Sakharovsky, the foreign minister and expert at the ungentlemanly aspects of warfare and espionage, walked up to the front of a room and addressed the assembled hierarchy. Refugees have been a constant problem for ourselves and our neighbors. However, these refugees can be a useful intelligence asset if used properly. Not only can we extract information from them about the conditions in surrounding states, but we can use them as cover for infiltration. Moving our own agents in with refugees will be far more plausible and less risky than attempting either border crossings or individual infiltration. If they are turned away, no harm done. If they are let through, then they are already intermingled with the general population. This proposal would require essentially no added cost, merely some carts and hidden communications equipment, all of which are readily available. I look forward to seeing them soon. Quite ingenious. Let's give ourselves a pat on the back for coming out with this. Let's get some scatter depots going. Soldiers need not just to be equipped, but with the best weapons we can give them, but also need to be prepared to have to resupply themselves in the case that our initial reunification wars go longer than expected. Sorry, I'm looking at what messages I got. And nothing I got to urgently reply to. The High Command has already begun preparing supply depots, built in the most utter secrecy and hidden from the people at large, to be scattered across the territory that we control. Even if a unit or a single soldier gets separated from the main force, he will be able to fight on, no matter the cost or his needs. Of course, checks will need to be put in place. Every depot will be checked with the necessary tools to destroy it in the case that enemies intend to capture it for their own purposes, and Black Hand agents will be present at each one to ensure that the material is going to those who need it. So we'll get some anti-tank, which is very nice. We'll need that. More artillery and more support equipment. Pretty nice, actually. I'll take that. How's the Civil War going? The Kingdom is doing well. Overall. I'll go ahead and do even better infantry weapons. Let's see, these are the Pragmatists. No, I think this is the Conet, right? Our army sucks. I like that. The Ustaza defeated. Yeah, this is the Conet. These are the Islamists, right? And Actobia, the Pragmatists. R.I.P. Nova Polska. And now let's go ahead and beat the drums of war. Our soldiers are trained, their guns are primed, our enemies are identified, their state disrupted. The short time between the end of the German bombings and now, it seems as if our administration has been completely revolutionized. We've gone from barely surviving, living on from one day to the next, to preparing for the reunification of Russia and the end of our longtime rivals based in Tumen. Too much work has been done now. Too many people have struggled and died. The great trial beckons, but for now, Yazov must be content with taking one small step towards it. And this is a step that we've been ready to take. The end of Lazar Kaganovich in his rump state. The drums of war are beating, and our soldiers march to the rhythm. We have made adequate preparations. The time has come for war. There we go. We'll do an offensive line. And now we're on the road to war. But, like any good road, we might want to take a pit stop real quick. So I'm actually going to cut it here, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is as good a place as any to go ahead and give a break, so we might as well. So I'm going to cut it here. We got some an impressive looking tree and a lot of fun coming up, so we'll get to that eventually. But for now, yeah, let's go ahead and cut it here. So, thank you as always for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this content in the future, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for more uploads every weekday, as well as every Saturday. If you have any comments, feedback, concerns, anything of the sort, leave in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get and appreciate any feedback you might have for me. If you want to chat, play games, anything of the sort, I have a Discord. If you want to send a few bucks my way, I have a Patreon. And if you want to see me do the sort of stuff live, I have a Twitch, all which are down in the description below. And that's really about it, ladies and gentlemen. My name has been DB333, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.